It is a great honor to share this day with the University of Virginia Law School's graduating class of 2010. You worked hard, and if traditions are intact around here, you played hard. And now for each of you, limitless opportunities lie ahead. Your parents and your families had a lot to do with you being here. I know they are very proud of you on this wonderful occasion, and a few are probably also somewhat relieved. Wherever the innumerable paths of opportunity may lead you, I hope you will look back, as I do, with affection to this place where it all began. If my experience is a guide, it was here that you first wrestled with the great mysteries of the law, such as the Dormant Commerce Clause, the First Amendment, and the rule against perpetuities. I hope the intellectual puzzle and fascination of the law will always stay with you, as it has with me. Indeed, as I stand here today, I ponder what the statute of limitations is in Charlottesville for parking tickets. Less than 28 years, I hope. But what a privilege you have had to attend this wonderful institution. A seat of civic dialogue and intellectual debate, a place of frank discussion, but also of camaraderie and friendship, a spirited environment for learning, consistent with the founding vision of Thomas Jefferson, who believed in this university so fully that the inscription he prepared for his gravestone lists Father of the University of Virginia, but not President of the United States. Like many of the founders, Thomas Jefferson had a particularly high vision of public service. He would be very proud of the record of this law school. Hundreds, if not thousands, of alumni have served as prosecutors, judges, local and state officials, or in the federal government. When I came to the Senate, I was proud to join fellow alumni of the law school, Senators Evan Bayh, Bill Nelson, John Cornyn, Kit Bond, Ted Kennedy, and Virginia's own John Warner, making UVA the best represented law school in the Senate, or as some of our rivals said, at least the most represented law school in the Senate. But clearly the law school is doing something right to encourage such widespread commitment to public service. I think the law school can also be proud that it exceeds all of its academic peers in a humane and healthy quality of life. Thomas Jefferson once famously told us to determine never to be idle, but he didn't say you have to work all the time. I recall with a group of friends here inventing an additional way to compete in one of our classes, a small seminar. The game was simple. You had to earn as many points as possible with certain achievements during the course of the seminar. Those included being the last to arrive, leaving early, mispronouncing the professor's name, and asking the dumbest question of the day. By the end of the semester, the competition was neck and neck, and on the final day of class, one friend came in very late, mispronounced the professor's name, asked the dumbest question, not of the day, but of the year, turned on his heel and walked out, sweeping the laurels and claiming victory in our competition. I don't know if that experience could have happened at another law school. I hope that sort of thing still happens here, because I think it is important, and you are lucky, to attend a school that in all of its academic rigor and intensity, and all of its stern preparation for the outside world, also nurtures and empowers the humane capacity for fun. In sum, you've been extremely fortunate to attend this great school. Nonetheless, it is only now that the most rewarding part of life in the law begins in earnest for you. And I'm supposed, I guess, to give you some advice about that. I frankly don't feel qualified to offer you much in the way of life advice. To paraphrase a law school movie, look to the person on your left, look to the person on your right. 3 years from now, not one of you will remember what I said here. If you needed any advice, I suppose Alice Roosevelt Longworth's on life is about as good as any. Fill what's empty, empty what's full, and scratch where it itches. But I will venture 3 thoughts about lawyering, the craft on which you are about to engage. My first thought to share is that unforeseen and unimaginable opportunities do await you. Every day of your life in this profession is a potential turning point. Luck and hazard are ever present, and your training can take you a great variety of places. Your life's trajectory is never settled. Never, never. Unless you choose to stop seeing the choices around you and deliberately deliver yourself to the daily drudge. Don't do that. Do what you need to do, learn and absorb, pay off those student loans, but never, never, never give up on the turning points to which your heart can lead you. My second thought is perhaps obvious, perhaps even tedious, but I think it bears repetition, that you should always act in the law to the highest standards of decency. Thomas Jefferson once gave us the following maxim: whenever you do a thing, though it can never be known but to yourself, ask yourself how you would act were all the world looking at you, and act accordingly. Law as a profession and as a process requires a degree of good faith, a measure of candor, and a dose of decency for its proper function. Occasions arise when a lawyer outside public scrutiny is faced with a chance to cut corners, to tilt a situation unfairly in a client's favor, to be a little less than candid, or to sidestep legal constraints. Let me assure you, all the little chips of advantage a lawyer may chisel off by cutting corners, piled all together, will never make up for the loss of reputation and self-worth that is the inevitable price a chiseler sooner or later pays. Remember Thomas Jefferson's maxim and President Lincoln's adage that a lawyer's only assets are his or her time and reputation, and challenge yourself against the highest standards of our profession's history. As I said, that's perhaps a bit tedious, but no one is perfect, and this is a goal that each of us is well served to strive for. For this goal, the success is in the trying. Finally, my third thought. The Bible says, hold fast to that which is good. You and I learned here that much which is good about America is found in our rule of law and our insistence on due process. I have held a great many positions in government at the state and federal level, in the executive and legislative branches. My father once said, "Sheldon, you don't seem to be able to keep work." But all my experience has been only to confirm and reinforce what I first learned here, the central importance of the rule of law in our American system of government. In the play A Man for All Seasons, Thomas More is challenged by an ardent acolyte who says he would cut down all the laws of England if it would help him to defeat the devil. More answers him, "Oh, and when the last law was down and the devil turned round on you, where would you hide, the laws all being flat? This country is planted thick with laws from coast to coast, and if you cut them down, do you really think you could stand upright in the winds that would blow then?" More concludes, "I'd give the devil benefit of law for my own safety's sake." This is the tradition we inherited, and today America is a beacon to the rest of the world because of the rule of law. So remember our nation's founding principles and hold fast. America has great military power and immense economic strength, but as President Clinton has said, the world has always been more impressed by the power of our example than the example of our power. America makes its greatest difference in this world's history, not by force of arms, not by power of wealth, but because we stand for something. And it is in what we stand for that we find our most enduring strength, our most lasting contribution to humanity. Through world wars and civil wars, westward expansion and Great Depression, through our best and through our worst, we have been sustained by our balanced rule of law. Hold fast to that. Remember also that government lends itself to abuse and needs its safeguards. Let me emphasize one today. Legislative and executive agencies of government were designed to be responsive to public opinion. Well enough. But they are therefore proven vulnerable to tampering by wealthy interests that seek to influence an outcome. Such tampering is indeed an activity now licensed and regulated under our campaign finance and lobbying laws. But one institution of government is deliberately beyond the tampering of powerful interests. Tampering with a jury is a crime. The founders put the jury in the Constitution and Bill of Rights 3 times, and for a reason: to ensure that in at least one forum, the powerful and the powerless have equal standing. Not for nothing did de Tocqueville describe the jury as, before everything, a political institution, a mode of the sovereignty of the people. And the chapter of democracy in America in which it falls is not for nothing the one entitled, "On What Tempers the Tyranny of the Majority." The founders' design was that when the governor's been bought, when the lobbyists have the legislature tied in knots, and when the owners of the newspaper have steered public opinion against you, the courtroom is still your sanctuary. At the hard, square corners of the jury box, the tide of influence stops, and facts and argument and law prevail. So when powerful interests attack the institution of the jury, the runaway jury, as they often call it, look for their motives. Trust the founders, respect their wisdom, and hold fast. The jury is, of course, just one element in our balanced machinery of government. It is in its full, complex, interlocking scope that machinery's full majesty appears. So also remember the wisdom of our carefully tuned American balance of powers. The internal and often frustrating, let me tell you how frustrating, checks and balances of our democracy. The passion of shouting with torches down the street is invigorating, even intoxicating. But through history, the story of America has been a larger story than just that of surge and counter-surge of torch-lit mobs. Why is this? What makes our country a light aloft in the world's darkness? Our society, a city on a hill. What is it that defines America and defends our liberties and determines our ever upward course as a nation? I think you have learned here, in this school, what it is. Fidelity to the rule of law, fidelity to our Constitution, fidelity to the finely balanced American system of governance that is our hallmark and our hope, fidelity to due process of law for popular and unpopular alike, fidelity to the individual moral responsibility that comes with an oath of office, greater than fealty to power or party or person. Hold fast to that knowledge and those principles. Graduates of Virginia, law school class of 2010, our nation's commitment to the balanced rule of law is a living legacy, an American legacy, dating back to Thomas Jefferson and the brilliant James Madison and George Washington, the great Virginians. And now you are here in this place at Mr. Jefferson's University, at your farewell. You now take your leave of this place and of this time in your lives. I would ask each of you at this moment of parting to reflect on this. From the very day of your birth, you have, each one of you, been the heirs and beneficiaries of that great American legacy. You have enjoyed its shelter and protection. Today, your minds disciplined by this great university, your spirits enlivened by your own individual energies and talents, you now go forth from here as that living legacy's new caretakers and its new champions. I trust it is in good hands. I wish you well. Congratulations and Godspeed.